And now, Ashley, it's time for our favorite of the week, our favorite of every single pod,
Yes.
Connecting Changes Everything, presented by AT&T. Now, Ashley, I'm not sure if you're aware, but the PWHL has had some things going on.
Some things. Okay.
Yes. And this week, we're connecting you to the story that is confusing a lot of people, including myself. So, Natalie Darwitz, the general manager for the PWHL championship winning Minnesota franchise,
Put that.
they let her go right after they won the championship. Let her go. So, literally a week after Minnesota won their first ever championship, they announced that they were cutting ties with her. Darwitz not only had a winning season, obviously with the championship, but is also a hockey legend herself, having played in 3 Olympic Games, won 3 World Championships, and back-to-back NCAA titles with the University of Michigan, where she was also an assistant coach. So definitely decorated in a lot of ways. So Alicia, initially, both sides really didn't give any feedback about what was going on. People were just like, okay, they win the championship and then you drop your GM. And there were some grumblings, but like they weren't confirmed that her and the head coach, Ken Klee, were, not really seeing eye to eye. So there was that, not confirmed, but people were saying that. And then Darwitz actually released a statement and said, I'm very proud of this team and organization that was built and the championship we brought home to this great state of hockey. At this time, I'm not able to provide any details regarding my departure. Thank you. So very short, like, hey, can't say anything. So that just increased everyone's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So then the PWHL vice president of hockey operations, Jana Hefford, held a small press conference. And I don't even know if I would call it a press conference personally, because like she apparently selected who was going to be there. So it wasn't open to everybody. It was just like, okay, I'm going to invite
More
who.
like a fireside chat then.
There we go. Let's call it a fireside chat.
Yeah.
But she just said in that press conference that the league performed a deep dive into what was going on in the market. The league performed a lengthy, months-long internal reviews supplemented by additional review by an outside third party. And then the reviews included interviews with PWHL Minnesota players and staff.
Okay.
And then also said, there's a couple more quotes, but I think they're important to the story. There's more. The feedback to us was pretty direct and pretty clear that there wasn't a path forward with the current personnel in place. It was with the work we did throughout the year, and it was clear that a change needed to be made. And then this is the one that was most interesting to me. Because again, a lot of things haven't come out. There's been no specific, this is what it is. But the easy thing, and Hefford said this, the easy thing would be to look and say, this team won a championship. Everything's perfect. The harder thing to do is, I think, look at the broader picture of everything that's occurred. So when you put all of it together, it unfortunately led us to this decision. And the reason why that last quote hit me is, we don't know what happened in this situation yet. But I do wish that regardless of winning, regardless of what your organization has achieved, regardless of what it may look like to people, if there is something going on, I wish that people would just make a change like this. I don't know if it was merited in this case. We don't know. But I think it's something that all sports entities should adopt. Is like, I don't care if we're winning or not. If something is wrong and we pinpoint that, we need to make a change no matter what it looks like to us, because we've seen that traditionally that doesn't occur. Things will go on for years and years.
It is interesting. Emma left us a note in kind of our notes for the show today, and she says that all the teams within the league are owned by the PWHL and the Mark Walter Group. So you can kind of wonder if being owned by a singular entity then takes away from the board of governors, if you will, right? So in the WNBA, in the NBA, in the NFL, I believe as well. Yeah. If you want to make a change that's going to affect a team drastically, that has to be voted on, right? Now, you can't just fire a coach, for example, without going through all the ownership groups that own that particular team. Usually, now there are exceptions if you're very, very rich, that team is owned by multiple people. There are minority owners, there's majority owners. So that board of governors has to approve a lot of the things that are going to affect the team. Now, if you're going to do something that overall affects the league, then it goes through the WNBA board of governors or the NBA board of governors or the NFL owners. So playing devil's advocate, you wonder if the lack of having those, I guess, different checks and balances, if you will, affects the decision making to where maybe it could just be like, let's just say somebody didn't like her and was like, let's get her out of here. There's nobody really to check that. You could just get her out of here. So it's good that you're proactive instead of being reactive. And if there's something wrong, you make that adjustment. But it also was kind of like a fine line, like a little bit weary, because it could just be a personal vendetta, not what's best for the team, but who's going to stop you?
Yeah. And I think to your point, that definitely needs to be changed in this league. It shouldn't be like that at all. But I also wish that more people would adopt, and in this case, we don't know what happened. Let's be clear.
Right.
But I wish that more sports team would adopt, like, even if you're winning, if things need to be changed, you do it, because we've seen time and time again where things just keep going on and going on and going on
I
because
agree
it's
with
a
you.
winning team. So I think, both of these things are true, right? Like, that's a good
I think
practice. And then also they need to change the league.
I think what you're more saying is taking the principle from this situation and taking it in the sense of like not putting wins and losses over the betterment of the team and the individuals on that team, which we do see. Sometimes you can be a terrible owner or a terrible coach or, terrible whatever, insert position here. But sometimes it doesn't matter because we're not going to go ahead and mess with the machine that's winning championships, winning games, even if it's at the detriment of the men and women who are putting themselves out there each and every night to make sure we're able to do that. So yeah, I think from the principle of this, you can take that. On the other side, the business aspect, I don't know, it seems a little shady.
Yeah, they need to work some things out.
They need to work a little something out. Listen, and speaking of working out, we are going to work things out with our girl Jenny and talk some NWSL. And we're going to do that right now.